I noticed one time after I had begun changing my food, I would go into the airport and I noticed as I passed security walking to the gate, I would start craving certain things, almost like Pavlov's dog. I go buy these sweets or I get this snack. I didn't need to eat it anymore, but my body was programmed to want that. So I had these impulses to get it. It took some time in the beginning to remain very conscious about my choices because I had these old habits I wasn't even aware of how deeply they sat that were pulling me off course.
Welcome to the Triathlon Nutrition Academy Podcast. I'm your host, Taryn. I'm an advanced sports dietitian, semi-retired age group triathlete, and creator of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program, where I help triathletes turn nutrition into their secret weapon. Today's guest is one of our own, a TNA athlete all the way from Texas, USA. Chris Tubbs started his athletic journey at the ripe age of 48. 4 months after his first triathlon training session, he accidentally signed up for an Ironman. He was traveling about 60% of the time for work in the biotech industry, cramming training in around flights, hotel rooms, boardrooms. I've seen him on like random pelotons in gyms in hotels just to get his sessions done. Back then, he didn't even know what an Ironman was, but somehow he got himself to the start line. Since those days, though, Chris has become a multiple Ironman finisher and a proud member of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy since 2022. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. Prior to him really understanding his nutrition and in particular hydration, like we're talking DNFs, probably far too many supplements. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that. And, a really high sweat rate that he's been dubbed the human sprinkler by himself. That's his own title. And once you hear about all of that, then you'll understand why he wasn't finishing races. So today we're going to hear from Chris and dig into what he did to turn it all around for himself, from struggling to finish races to finally cracking the code for what works for him and his body and what was holding him back, to now being able to, finish an Ironman with less problems. Sometimes there are still problems, but it's a spoiler alert, it wasn't more supplements that got him to the finish line. So let's get into it. Chris, welcome back to the podcast. You are no stranger around here, but this is your first solo episode with me. Welcome.
Hey, Taryn. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talk with you. I always enjoy our conversations.
Me too. Can you take us back to the very start of your career and please tell me how you accidentally signed up for an Ironman?
Yeah, it's one of those accidental good things. I was living most of my life just working and not exercising. And I tell people before I started training for triathlon, I was a championship potato chip eater. So I would grab bags, sit on the couch and finish the bag. Then the next day I'd do it again. I had consistency like you wouldn't believe. But in that, I became pretty unhealthy and unhappy, and I didn't realize how bad it was. It's kind of like watching the grass grow until one day, I remember this moment. Over Christmas time, my son and I were going to go see the Nutcracker. We had on 3-piece suits, and I was really excited to go, and my wife took a picture of us. And when I looked at the picture afterwards, I remember seeing that my face was bloated, and my shirt was so tight that the buttons were pulling apart, like the shirt was too small, and I just felt horrible. And that night, after I felt really bad about myself, we came back to the Nutcracker, I decided that I was going to make a change. And I wasn't going to make an easy change. I was going to change everything. And I called it my ludicrous goal. I had to do something that would cause me to figure out how to change all my habits, including, oddly enough, eating, but physical activity. But I knew I had to eat differently. I just didn't know how much.
It's not like you to go guns blazing and go all in. I'm not really sure where that came from.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from either.
Sometimes it is just a line in the sand and it can be a really defining moment. And look at you now. You are an absolute weapon.
I feel really good. I'm very happy with how far I've come and the potential I see, things that I can do even more so.
You were the one that shared David Goggins with me too. So I feel like there is parts of you in him and vice versa if you are looking at doing some crazy shit in the future.
Yeah. He resonates with me deeply. There are many things that he went through that I didn't do exactly, but I felt the way he described what he felt and went through with life and decisions he's made. Just no excuses and full accountability for where we are, where I am. There are consequences of my decisions. So to change it, I have to make better decisions. And that's what I'm doing.
So let's talk about some of the early phases. Like when I first met you, and why things weren't working? Because you were fit, like you were doing the training then, but race after race, things were going pear-shaped and it just wasn't working. There were lots of DNFs back then. What was going on at that time when in your triathlon career?
Yeah, this was really early in the career, and there were a lot of things going on. One was I was brand new to training. I didn't have an athletic background. In high school, I swam a little bit for a year. But other than that, after that, I didn't do anything. So I had to learn how to run, bike. I knew how to swim, but not competitively in like open water and racing. But I also needed to know how to manage my time to fit in the sessions and how to follow a plan. So I was of the mindset, as long as I was doing it, I was fine. So I would do something, but not according to plan. And so I wasn't really progressing much. I felt better. I was sore. And going from not being able to run 2 miles to being able to run a 5K was huge for me. But it was nowhere near my goal, which at that time was to run an Olympic distance. So going from not being able to run 2 miles and having an old mountain bike to saying, well, if they do it at the Olympics, that's got to be the pinnacle. That's what I knew was the pinnacle of triathlon. And so that was my goal. And I didn't know what was wrong other than I thought, I'm just not fit enough. So I have to keep trying harder. I just have to try harder. I didn't ask enough questions.
You joined the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program back in September 2022. And I remember, like it was yesterday, how nervous you were to join a nutrition program and be told that you couldn't do stuff anymore, that I was going to take all of your supplements away from you, and you didn't want me to do that because you had pinned your entire performance around everything that you were taking every day. Were you surprised when your performance, one, didn't tank, it actually improved when you stopped taking all this stuff? And then secondly, how much money you were now saving as a result of that?
Oh, I remember the conversation as well. I remember just going through knots, looking at the program advertising and thinking about it, knowing I need this help. But my ego didn't want to say, you don't know what you're doing. So by me saying to you, I don't want you to take my things away, was me telling myself, you know everything, so why would you really need help? It was an internal struggle. And so I was really afraid that the supplements were what was holding me up, and I needed them. It's my little Linus blanket from the Peanuts. I was going through the program, and I'll say brave enough to stop taking the supplements and actually change what I ate. So I was getting most of the nutrients through food. My performance, to my surprise, didn't suffer. It actually improved. So I had more energy. I slept better. I wasn't cramping nearly as much. I still had a lot of issues because, as you intimated earlier, a sweating problem I didn't address until later. I didn't recognize until later. But the nutrient side improved me quite a bit. So I was probably spending well over $150 a month, US dollars, maybe $200 a month on supplements, because I was just buying things. I would see ads or talk to other people. They were taking things and they were better performers than me. So I thought, that's what I have to do too. That's going to be my ticket. And it's the same story. It's not.
You're not alone though. So many triathletes do that. We get marketed so heavily with all these things and we see the pros doing it. So we feel like we need to do it. And if we don't, we're going to get left behind. But what age groupers don't have right is those foundations of nutrition first before adding in some of those sorts of things. Whereas the pros have the complete other way around.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
If you want to dive into how much Chris is saving, as well as Kelly, another TNA athlete who's saving triple what Chris is saving, you can go and listen to episode 101 back in the archives and check out that story.
And as you say that was what we had the conversation, and you said it with such confidence that I wouldn't need them. I could save the money. I did the math and thought, well, if I don't have to buy the supplements, it pays for the program. So there's nothing to lose in that regard. So it did in multifold. I mean, I can't really put a price on it at this point, the knowledge that I've gained and the confidence that comes from that.
When you first started, you were also traveling a lot. Like I said earlier, you were on the road every week and trying to fit in a change in nutrition in a really busy lifestyle. When, you're at home, your wife is the one that cooks and you can give a direction to say, this is what I need. But when you're on the road, you're at the mercy of whatever is available to you. And I remember another key, like pivotal moment in your learning when I was like, you don't have to order that at a restaurant. You can order something different. You can build your plate the way that you want to build it. And just the light in your eyes was like, oh, yeah. And so you completely changed the way that you ate and fit that into your lifestyle, even though how crazy busy it was and you were on the road every week.
Yeah, it's actually amazing how much routine becomes truth. At least for me, I did the same thing for so long that it didn't occur to me that I just could choose something different to eat.
It's funny, isn't it?
It's amazing. But the other part of that was I noticed one time after I had begun changing my food, I would go into the airport and I noticed as I passed security walking to the gate, I would start craving certain things from the store in the restaurant, almost like Pavlov's dog. When you ring the bell, when I pass through security, I go buy these sweets or I get this snack. I didn't need to eat anymore, but my body was programmed to want that. So I had these impulses to get it. So it took some time in the beginning to remain very conscious about my choices because I had these old habits that I wasn't even aware of how deeply they sat that were pulling me off course. So it took quite a while to shift.
One of the biggest pieces of your puzzle is definitely the human sprinkler side of things. So in the beginning, like we're not overhauling, but you had a huge shift in the way that you ate to support triathlon. And that's coming from a base of no athleticism, being a couch potato, eating chips, crisps, as you just described.
Crisps,
to then, having to eat to support 3 sports. That whole shift in your mindset around food was amazing and so fun to watch. But early days, you thought that a lot of your problems were around fueling and you needed to fuel more, and more carbs during racing was the answer and was going to fix all your problem. But in fact, it was not that. More carbs was not the answer. It was actually your hydration. As a very heavy sweater, understanding your personal hydration needs and how to actually support that in a race is what was the difference. So what were some of the things that you did to really understand that and unlock that next level? And how did things change for you on race day when you did?
It was a slow progression. So I knew I sweated a lot, but I didn't think it was unusual. I thought maybe because I live in Houston, that's just how it is and everybody sweats. And the first coach I had told me to drink more. And of course, I drank what I felt like drinking. I was very stubborn. And I would get lightheaded and nauseous. And he would tell me that was the case. But then the other thing I learned, I took a little thing through work about healthy eating. And I realized I was not drinking enough fluid, even in daily life. And I was mistaking that signal for hunger. So I was overeating, and of course, the wrong things, and not hydrating, so that when I would train, I would cramp incredibly frequently. And I didn't know what it was. So the little course that I took through work and then talking with you, making suggestions about how much I sweat and then getting a sweat test made a difference to see how much I sweat and then have it compared to other people so I'd know. And then I'd know how much to drink. I didn't pay attention to how much I would drink when I ran, especially when I would bike. So 5-6 hours here in Houston when it's 90% humidity and the temperature is very hot, with 37, 38 at sea and hot. 98 here. I didn't drink enough. I didn't pay attention to drinking. And of course I didn't drink enough. So I would like ball up in a little cramp at the end of the ride if I made it to the end of the ride healthy.
What is your sweat rate? Just enlighten people on how insane it is.
It's a little over 2 liters an hour. The measurements go from about 1.9 to 2.2 liters per hour.
Which is high. It's probably, high normative data. I've definitely seen higher though. Here in Australia, we're pretty sweaty people also, just because it's so hot and so humid, upwards of sort of 3.5 litres of sweat an hour. But you'll know if you're a heavy sweater because you're wringing your clothes out after a training session, which is why you dubbed yourself the human sprinkler, because it is that.
Actually, that name, so I did call myself that, and it came from when I would ride in a group ride, and I would look back, the water would fling off my body to the people behind. The water, the sweat would fling, and it's just nasty. But I didn't know, there was nothing I could do. I would look back to see who was there if I'm changing lanes. As soon as I turned my head or my shoulders, it's just slinging sweat back. I said, oh shit, I'm like a sprinkler.
Oh man, did
That became
people
the human
move away
speed
from sitting on your wheel as a result of that?
No, because they're like it's like riding behind a brick wall. It's so
Yeah.
easy. I block so much wind. I'm bigger than a typical triathlete, so
Yeah.
they all have
What is your
benefit.
height and weight?
6'2", 225 pounds.
Yep. Not a typical triathlete build. Big body
No.
mass, lots of internal heat
Yes.
equals high sweat rate.
High sweat rate and a good blocker of wind.
Talk to me about the moment when you realized that fueling wasn't the problem. It was hydration and some of the things you did to try and rectify it.
I realized it during races. So after talking with you, I was able to create a plan. And during training, I did it. But really during the race, I would follow the plan and realize that the cramping was better and I felt better. And so I continued to do that and be much more intentional about paying attention to how much I drink and how frequently I drink. And it has made a big difference. So my races now, it's not an issue. I know what I'm drinking, when I'm drinking it. And I've even got to the point where I can improvise a bit if things go sideways. So I lose a bottle or something like that. I can improvise and I can feel when I'm not drinking enough.
It's a nice place to be, to have that ability to troubleshoot on the fly based on how your body's responding and feeling to things, rather than just having this set plan that I will drink this amount and fuel at this amount regardless of what's going on externally.
Absolutely. And I'll adjust it. So one of the things it's been wonderful is to be able to adjust the amount I take in based on the conditions and the intensity of the session. I didn't do that before. I didn't understand the importance of it really, but then when I did, I didn't know what to do. So I would either slam more, and there were races when I was just slamming so much water, I would have sloshy gut and I'd get nauseous. I didn't even know how to pinpoint it to know what to do because I was a heavy sweater. So I thought I just had to drink all the time. And then that backfired as well. So I just didn't know how to walk the line, but slowly through the practice and the sessions and the plans, I've gotten much more dialed in on what my body does and what it needs.
Yeah, how are your races feeling now?
They feel great. I haven't been able to execute one with putting all the pieces together at one time, but I feel great at the end of races and my nutrition and energy levels are high. So I'm not completely depleted and like a zombie at the end. I'm mostly frustrated at decisions that I've made that got in the way of me really performing the way I thought that I could. But it's not because fitness or the nutrition was off that much.
You weren't even able to finish runs. So to be able to cross finish lines is huge.
Yeah.
And you just gloss over that because you're a let's keep going next type person.
Absolutely. That's an issue. I don't sit and reflect a whole lot. I just think about what's next, what I do next. And I just got off, I was talking with a buddy who qualified for Kona at Cozumel, and he was already thinking about spring. And I reminded him, no, take a moment to enjoy this and think about what you've done and all the work you've done to get here. And it all came together. Just slow down for a minute. I can say it, but I have a lot of difficulty doing that myself. Probably that's why I can say it, because I know how important it is.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are in the same boat, me included. One of the things you've learned is to not sign up for hot races as well,
Yes.
which I think is a great tip for you.
Yes. It took me a couple of races to put it together. So 2 DNFs, one 70.3 in Waco, Texas. I DNF'd on the bike with the heat. I just got to the point where it was pretty early in the bike as well, too. And then at Ironman in Cozumel, I overheated and was dehydrated and I didn't finish the bike. I got to the point where I was probably just past heat exhaustion and going into more severe, where I could barely keep my eyes open and stay upright on the bike, but I was still trying to go. And I decided to call it. But that was the moment where I realized, okay, I'm not ready for hot races. I want to do these races, but I've got to do them in conditions where I'm more suited and adapted. And that's colder. I'm more like I tell people I'm a polar bear wrapped in a human body. So I did the next year I did Sweden and loved it. I swam San Francisco Bay and the water is cold and I felt great. So that's where I am right now until I can figure out if I can adapt my body to the heat I'd love to go back to Cozumel and race it again because it's beautiful.
You forget that you are very early in your triathlon career too. Also, it's, again, a testament to your mindset is that you can do hard things. And one of your hashtags is I love all the shit. If you follow Chris on Instagram, his handle is Iron Clydesdale. If you are looking for some good motivation and inspiration, he's just such a happy camper all the time, smiling all the time. Nothing's ever a problem. Just having a good time in life.
And I'll tell you why. It's perspective. So early in my career, I got diagnosed with prostate cancer. So right before my first Ironman, and I had surgery like 3 weeks after my first Ironman. And I was the first race, because I knew that I was going to go through surgery and I didn't know what was to come with this cancer diagnosis. I was just happy the whole time. There was nothing I was worried about. I went into the race just grateful. And ever since then, I've just felt appreciative of being able to push my body to do these and make my mind stronger and learn from them, because you learn about life as well. And it has just kept me grounded because we don't know how long we'll be able to do this, especially if we love it. So I appreciate it. I do my best to appreciate it all the time.
A lot of people can learn a lot from that, I think. One of the things that you have said to me before, and something that I really love, is that you could try and piece all of this stuff together on the internet, but it's faster and way more effective to get some help to do that. So what would you say to somebody that is thinking that they can, absorb all these free podcasts, figure it out with ChatGPT and try and work out their own nutrition instead of getting some support and investing in their nutrition?
Oh, that's a great point. I agree with that 100%. I would ask someone, what's more important to you? Do you just want to take your time problem solving, figuring something out, running in circles? Or do you want to make progress and really begin to make the best and get the best out of your potential? Because if you want to do the latter, then don't waste your time chasing all of these non-specific and potentially inaccurate sources of information. Go take 6 months, spend a couple of $100 and talk with an expert and get a community of people that are learning with you so that you can grow and support one another together. It's a lot of fun. We have a group of athletes that we are chatting every week, and we get to talk to each other. And now we see each other at races. So we learn from each other a lot. But the important part is, if you want to do these races well and you don't want to drag it out for years, just take the time, make the investment, and learn what you can do that's specific for you and your conditions. Then you got it. Just go race.
What is next on the cards for you? You've always got some crazy plans. You're going to come to Santa Cruz 2027.
I do want to go to Santa Cruz. So we've got the TNA event. We were just in Australia, Sunny Coast 70.3. And that was a lot of fun. I loved it. And it's beautiful. The next one I will not be at, but I will go to Santa Cruz, where you all will come to the U.S., to North America. 2026, no big races for me. I'm in the process of learning to fly. So I'm in flight school with my son. So we're doing it together. Yeah. He wants to be a professional pilot. So I'm learning with him, and we're learning together. And it's a wonderful experience to share. So I've pulled back on my Ironman training. I'm doing 2 70.3s next year. And then I'm going to spend 8 days riding through the mountains of Japan with a couple of other people and just learning to ride better, climbing and push myself, because I have a bigger goal for a much harder triathlon a few years later. So I want to build some of these skills.
What are you allowed to tell us? This is like a carrot dangler, like teaser?
I don't know if I want to say it, because then I'm committed if I say it out loud. Yes, I'm thinking about Ultraman.
This is the epitome of Chris. He doesn't do things in halves.
No. So the issue for me with regard to Ultraman, or the hesitation, is not that whether or not I think I can do it. It's the time commitment for that level of event and the training that's required relative to what else is going on in my life. There would be some real big sacrifices. Ironman itself is very big, and I'm grateful for my wife and my son being supportive of me doing. I've done 11 in 4.5 years, 5 years. It's a lot. And I didn't realize it until I actually sat and thought about it. But before I asked them to support something like that, I want to really reflect and look at where we are and see what else they want to do.
So you haven't asked your wife yet?
I just said, hey, I've been thinking about this thing in a couple of years. Not right now, just a couple of years.
Yeah,
and
just plant the seed.
She gives me this look like, oh, shit, I know what it is when you say I've been thinking about.
Oh, no. I love it. I love it. Okay, so nobody say anything to Chris's wife, please, until he's had a chance to ask her properly.
Yep, so she's going to have some wonderful things before then, before I even bring it up. Her life's going to be grand and all kinds of goodies.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, Robin. What has been the best thing you've learned about nutrition over the last couple of years working together?
The best thing that I've learned about nutrition, it has come from working with you, of course, is the ability to adapt my nutrition to what I'm going to do. So there's lots of specific things we've learned and they're helpful, but I think on the whole, having enough understanding and knowledge about nutrition and about my body to be able to adjust it, to support it to various types of events is the most important piece. I can take that with me anywhere and do any kind of event, I believe. Absolutely,
you can. You have the right mindset. Everyone's the same. You can do hard things. You just need to put the right foundations in place so that your body can absorb the training. You understand how it works. You can troubleshoot. All of those sorts of things are key to your success rather than just going guns blazing into, an Ironman 4 months into your journey and then going, oh, shit, I actually need to understand how to eat for this thing.
Yeah. And how did that happen? So we did mention that I accidentally signed up for an Ironman. I had started training for the Olympic in January, February. I had a coach. And then I happened to have a guy at my job that I knew did athletics. So I told him I was training for this Olympic triathlon, thinking, it's impressive. He's like, oh, yeah, that's nice. That'll be fun. And I asked him if he done triathlons. He says, yeah, I do Ironmans. I didn't know what Ironmans were. He had done like 6 or 7 of them. And so he explained it to me. And of course, my jaw fell on the floor. It's like, oh, shit, that's crazy. I could never do that. I left it alone. But within 2 or 3 weeks, he had poked me enough times. He said, hey, man, I'm coming down to Texas next April to do Ironman Texas. You should do it with me. My first response was profane. And I said, F you, man, you're crazy. Leave me alone. But he must have known that I have a competitive spirit. And he just kept poking at me and poking. And eventually it didn't take long. I had said yes in my head. And then I just had to have the conversation with Robin. Like, hey, guess what I'm thinking about? Tim said. And she knew me better than I knew myself. I remember the moment she was standing in a room and she just put her head down and laughed. She says, I was wondering when this was going to happen. I knew an Olympic wasn't going to be enough for you. And that's it. I just signed up and asked my coach. He says, I can get you ready. You just have to learn to sit on a bike for 6 hours.
Is anything ever going to be enough for Chris Tubbs though? Because now you're already like, all right, Ultraman, it's going to happen. And then what do you want to do beyond Ultraman?
I haven't thought about that. I want to execute an Ironman as well as I know that I'm capable. And that's a big challenge. So it's not so much how quickly I can finish, but it is how quickly I can finish. But it'll happen when I execute everything well. The time will be what the time will be. I think it will be fast. But I have to stop making mistakes that I know I don't need to make. And that's being conscious and diligent and disciplined. I can do it.
I spoke to the Iron Cowboy recently on the podcast, and he's done something like almost 200 Ironman events, like full distance races. He said out of those, only one worked to what he expected and everything slot into place.
Wow.
And those odds are not good.
No, they're not. Holy crap.
So there is hope.
Yeah, there's hope, but you also have to have patience.
Yeah.
Is what that means. It's possible, but that's the draw, right? We know we can do better and we're wired to seek that out.
It's why triathlon's so addictive, isn't it? Because there's always something that you can do better.
Mm-hmm.
Any final words of wisdom for triathletes listening who might be struggling like you were back in those days?
Get some help. It's worth it. You don't have to struggle and just keep falling down and figuring out on your own. Just reach out, get some help. It doesn't take very long. The time will pass quickly. You'll meet new friends and people that support you in races and what you're doing, and you'll find other people to support and find fulfillment in that as well. Nutrition is really what allows it to happen. Once you're fit, you can be fit and not have good nutrition, and you're still not even close to your potential. So learn to support your training and your racing through nutrition. And Taryn's great. She doesn't pull any punches. She talks straight to you. It's amazing. So she's a real breath of fresh air when you talk to her and when you go through your plan. So when it's your time to go through your plan, all eyes are on you. Everybody in the group is helping you and listening and giving you ideas. So it's all hands on deck to get you to where the best place you can be. It's wonderful.
I do love that about our athletes, is that we all lift each other up. In a world where everyone cuts each other down, we have people in the same age group that do help each other, and we all support each other, I love that about it. Well, Chris, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. The highs, the lows, the DNFs, so much sweat.
Yeah.
So much sweat. And I think you are just the epitome of a living example of it's never too late to start, is it? Like, I can't believe that you did nothing for 48 years. The last 50 are going to be amazing, particularly if you've got things like Ultraman on the cards. And I know that there is more in you, and there's little seeds that you just don't want to voice to me, because I will hold you accountable to do it.
That's right. That's right. They're just little seeds. They're not bloomed enough to talk about them.
But also educating yourself. Like, you're a smart person. You're a biochemist, you have a science degree, and you're educating yourself in an area that most of us really know nothing about. We all eat, we all have a body, and we think we know, but really we don't know. And you're a great example to showcase that when you do stop winging it and just trying to fake it till you make it, get the right support crew in your corner, your best races are still ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you do want to connect with Chris on the gram, he's part of our amazing athlete community within the Triathlon Nutrition Academy. He's on Instagram as the Iron Clydesdale. Is that still your handle?
Yeah, Iron Clydesdale. Iron_Clydesdale.
Iron_Clydesdale. I'll link it in the show notes. If just even for a bit of positivity in your day when he gets all bendy and stretchy and hashtag I love all this shit on us, it's great. And if you're nodding along thinking, all right, that sounds like me, maybe now is the time to do something about it. You can learn more about how I work with athletes inside the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program and register your interest for our next cohort at dietitianapproved.com/academy. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks for joining me, Chris. Remember to stay hydrated.
Yes. Here we are.
Cheers.
Cheers. Great talking with you, Taryn.